E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā iwi, nau mai, haere mai, tauti mai ki tēnei whakaata whakahirahira mo te whare wānanga o Otago. Kia ora, talofa lava, nisa bolavinaka, taloha ni, kia orana, and warm Pacific greetings, and welcome to the University of Otago's Virtual Open Day. Before we kick off this afternoon, we're very, very lucky to have some special guests who have sent in a wee message of support. We're very, very proud to have them as our alumni. So without further ado, take it away, boys.
Kia ora. We are 660 and welcome to Virtual Open Day. Few of us are alumni of Otago University, and Otago, Dunedin as a city, the university and 660 Castle Street were really like incubators for us to grow as creators and as individuals and become the people we are today. And we found ourselves an opportunity to buy the house with a dream of creating a foundation and a charity to bring young kids through and help them through university to find their own voice and their own path. And we're really excited now to be back here, to be able to announce that, and yeah, to be giving back.
It's really important if I think back to how special the thing is that we created in 660 on Castle Street. Not only us owning a part of that, you know, for the rest of our lives, but also creating the environment where a group of kids or a kid might be able to find that spark as well is incredibly important to us. And I think probably one of the best reasons to do this. We always feel at home when we come back here, and obviously we all met down here, so we feel like this is our spiritual home in some ways. So yeah, it's an incredibly important part of the 660 story.
Kia ora guys, a really amazing opportunity, and I know so many of our tauira are looking forward to working with you and alongside you over the coming years. Now, I'm going to hand over to our Acting Vice-Chancellor, Professor Helen Nicholson, who is almost a little bit like the university's principal of sorts. So, Professor Nicholson, over to you.
Kia ora. My name is Professor Helen Nicholson, and I'm the Acting Vice-Chancellor at the University of Otago. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Otago's Virtual Open Day. I hope that you will take this opportunity to look through our virtual expo hall, where you will find a number of short presentations from more than 100 of our academic programs and courses. Please familiarise yourself with our beautiful campus by watching our virtual campus tour. Keep watching our live segment to hear from students about their experience at university, and take a good look inside our residential colleges. Choosing where and what to study can seem like a daunting process. However, it's also an exciting one. To support you, we have experts on hand to help answer any questions you might have. So make sure you use our live chat. I look forward to welcoming you to the University of Otago in 2022.
Kia ora, Professor, that's awesome. Now, if you are looking to decide whether you want to come to the University of Otago or not, this is the right place to be. You've found the right place. Awesome. We have a very, very full afternoon with quite a few sessions with a range of things, really, from student support out to some really important dates for you to remember, as well as, of course, health science first year. If you do have any comments this afternoon, if you hear something that might inspire a comment, or you're coming in hot and you've got some questions already, we do have a live chat function that we'll be using this afternoon, which we are using on our YouTube channel as well as our Virtual Open Day Expo. Now, this afternoon, we might hear a few people offer some phrases that you're not quite sure about, things like undergrad, a bachelor's, a course, or even a paper. And if you don't know what any of these words mean, that's okay, you are not alone. We have a special section on our website with commonly used terms, so if you have no idea on what some of these words mean, feel free to visit that section and you will be right as rain. Now, we do know that University of Otago people love a giveaway, so we are very lucky today to be able to give out a University of Otago prize pack. Now, all you need to do is to look for the following icons here. They're basically clock tower icons which are scattered across the virtual expo, and you'll be able to hover over the icon, so to speak, and register. And every time you find one of these, you can register to enter to win. There are 5 icons across the hall, 5 opportunities to win. Very exciting prize pack, and it's a really, really cool one at that. So very excited to have that as well. Now, we are very, very excited to have some really important people speaking with us this afternoon. But we also have quite a few students, and it's really important for us to talk to students and get their vibe of what it's really like here. So after the break, we've got a couple of students here along with Ken Tipene from Ka Rikarika a Tāne. Stay tuned. All right, so for students across the country, moving down to the University of Otago and Dunedin can be pretty daunting. That said, we do have an incredible number of tauira Māori here at the university, in fact just under 2,500 tauira, an incredible number. But what is the secret and why do so many tauira come down to the university? Well, today I've got two incredible tauira with me this afternoon, as well as Ken Tipene, who looks after Ka Rikarika a Tāne and is a key member of Te Huka Mātauranga, our Māori Centre. Well, first of all, thanks very much for joining me. Kia ora koutou.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Ken, talk me through a little bit about the Māori Centre, what services it can offer and bits of advice that you can give for tauira who are looking to come down here.
Well, the centre's been around for a while now, about 30 years, so it's pretty well established within the university. And we support tauira Māori right across the university, provide services in academic support through a tutorial program, and social support through the Ka Rikarika mentoring program.
That's awesome. Jamila, I know that you're quite connected with your ahurea. How has that been and how has that enhanced, I guess, Te Huka Mātauranga for you?
Oh, well, coming from South Auckland and coming down here, I was one of the 3 students to come down. So I was a bit whakama about what to do and all that. But I remember on my first day of university, the Māori Centre welcomed me with open arms, went to the pōheri and all that. And more so, with me being tangata whenua and mana whenua, with me being ngaitahu, it has allowed me to be home as well.
So what's it kind of like, I guess, working, you know, you obviously see Ken a lot in Te Huka Mātauranga. Is he all right? Like he's not too, not scary or anything like that?
Well, it's amazing pretty much because we have Matua Ken, we have Whaia Arihia, we have Auntie Karen as well. Just with the free tutorials that we have, with the mentoring that we have with the tautoko from tauira to tauira, and just always being amongst Māori is it's very cool.
That's so cool, eh? Awesome. Kahurangi, I know that you're quite involved in the Otago experience, and how has that sort of helped yourself to connect and to feel a part of that culture and that manaakitanga for you?
I guess referring back to Te Whare Tapawha and ensuring that all my fōpō are strong and solid, that's how I feel that I'm connected in every aspect of my life and how I can contribute to the Otago experience.
Kia ora. And so where have you come from?
Noa Katatanui ahau.
Kia ora.
It's my father-in-law.
That's why she's here.
Is there any extra pressure having the father-in-law in Te Huka Mātauranga, knowing that he's watching? Surely
Yeah,
not.
kind of, but I know that I'm always there for him if he needs a hand.
Yeah, awesome. And so what about you guys as tauira? You've come down to Te Whare Wānanga. What are some little tips that you could maybe give some tauira who are out there today and what they're thinking? And you've been through that process of coming down and I guess connecting locally as well. Any sort of tips that you can give them?
Probably just going into and making the most out of Te Ropu Māori Association. I mean, the amount of whānau attributes that they have with O Week, within just the associations within the Māori Association as well. Making the most of that, and also don't be whakama, don't be shy and actually go in because they want to offer you, they want to help. So making sure that you straight away go into Te Huka Mātauranga and then asking for that awhi because they'll be more than welcome.
And seek out. Not to a Ken as well. Right?
Yeah.
For yourself, Kahurangi, anything
Yeah,
you want to add?
I just like to tautoko that, just being assertive. You know where you come from, and this is a home away from home, especially the Maori Centre and Te Rōpū Māori Association. So yeah, just being assertive and knowing that there are other people like you that are in that same position who have come away from home and trying to find a home.
Yeah, it must be nice hearing those sorts of comments as well for yourself. What about that manaaki element, which I know is so important? I guess acting on behalf of mana whenua at the university, how important is manaaki for bringing tauira down?
It's the foundation. It's one of our primary roles here is to manaaki and have home away from home for tauira.
Yeah. And when you hear the sheer number of tauira as well, you know, almost 2,500, it can be a little bit overwhelming, isn't it, to hear that bigger number? But it talk me through, I guess, how you can look after that number of students and make sure, like you say, that we've heard today, that they feel like they're in a home away from home.
It's not easy. You know, it's a busy place, Te Huka Mātauranga, and there's other staff members there. We have counsellors, we have the Māori chaplain, we have a liaison officer, so it's a team effort to do what we have to do to make sure that our tauira are successful.
Yeah, well, that's really awesome. Well, I guess for you two though, you know, how connected are you not only just within the university? I know such a key part of being down here is kind of trying to connect with different hapori and different environments and social circles and stuff like that. Do you guys do other things outside of the university apart from study?
Well, I work, I do a lot of help within the runanga, so with me being whakapapa back to Moeraki, I'm always there monthly, working in the runanga, going to the meetings and all that as well as being one of the mātamua for one of Karikarika Tāne as well. Yep, and then just doing all of those attributes as well.
Yeah, cool, that's really cool. Just quickly, Ken, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Karikarika Tāne is?
Karikarika Tāne is a mentoring program, and there's many layers to it. So it starts off as a mentoring program and then evolves into a leadership program. So they go through a structure that they'll be familiar with. There's a tuakana teina relationship, and then there's a mātāmō within a whānau, and then a hika. And there's the option there for our tauira to move and progress through the program.
Really, I guess, helping to help students develop that leadership side of their time down here as well, and Te Ao Māori as part of that as well. That's awesome. Well, thank you very much, guys. That's all the time we've got for this afternoon. So thank you for your time, and kia ora koutou. Kia ora. Well, up next we're going to hear from students across the 4 University of Otago divisions. Stay tuned.
Dunedin, the city, is just so friendly.
It's a big city, it's a big student city.
I love that you can walk everywhere and that everything's accessible.
The campus is just pretty much in the heart of the city as well.
What the students offer to the city is something that you don't get too many other places.
That's the great thing about this university, you will find your people.
It feels like a university with a city attached to it.
It's exceeded my expectations in every way. It's unbelievable.
Definitely that initial arrival at my college was a moment that I'll always remember.
Just the nicest people and the nicest environment, and my room's beautiful.
The colleges, for me, have been the biggest thing. They offer this immense range of sort of tutorial services and really good pastoral care as well.
The college is home, first and foremost. They just do the little things well.
It's just different to anything else you'd ever experience.
All right, well, welcome back. We, of course, are very lucky at the Te Whare Wānanga o Otago, the University of Otago, to have 4 different divisions. We have health sciences, we have commerce, we have humanities, and of course sciences as well. I'm very lucky to be joined this afternoon by 4 incredible tauira across the 4 divisions. Well, firstly, thank you guys for coming in this afternoon. I really appreciate it. What I might do is I might just get you guys to go around one by one and just tell us your name and what you're studying.
Hi, I'm Ashley and I study genetics with a minor in zoology.
Awesome.
I'm Ella and I study a Bachelor of Arts and Science in Consumer Food Science and Economics.
Wow.
I'm Destiny and I study Bachelor of Laws and Māori Studies.
G'day, I'm Rob. I study Marketing and Psychology.
Awesome, bro, awesome. Well, Ashley, I think I'll start off with you. I know that you just said you're doing science here at Otago. How are you sort of finding that opportunity to study and then kind of seeking out different sort of creative avenues. I know for yourself that's really important.
Yeah, so science is obviously a really big thing for me, but at the same time it's so structured and rigid, you don't get the opportunity to express the way that you would normally want to in your creative ways. So I've stuck to my roots and continue to creative write. Just in the past time, like, it's a good way to express how you're feeling and check in with yourself as well to make sure that you're doing okay, because uni can be very stressful. And painting as well, just using other ways so you're not constantly thinking about what your sciences are, what you've got to do.
That's a really interesting point, because you're talking about, I guess, two different worlds colliding, isn't it, in terms of the structured and the free, and that, I don't know what that looks like, but that's okay.
It's definitely a big combo.
Yeah. Ella, for yourself, I just sort of come to you straight away. When you're a prospective student, a student who might be watching this afternoon, what are some different ways that you can sort of offer advice around kind of people who might be looking at part-time study and working and sort of that balance?
Yeah, so I started doing some part-time work in my second year just to earn a little money on the side, pay off that student debt.
Yeah.
In the first year I got a nice foundation of how I like to study, which led me be able to do some part-time work in my second year, because I was able to create a nice balance in between spending my days at uni, spending some evenings in a kitchen doing some kitchen handwork. So it was really nice having some time away from the study, your mind somewhere else. And so it's a really nice balance of earning a bit of money and then spending time like enjoying what you do.
Yeah, kind of makes it a bit more qualitative and a bit more enjoyable along the way, doesn't it, when
definitely.
You can break it up. For yourself, Destiny, I know that you're quite involved in a whole lot of different things outside of study. Why don't you tell us a few of the groups that you're involved with?
I'm part of Karikirika Tāne, which the Maori Centre just said. I'm also part of the Aspire program. I was part of it last sem. And I've been part of a lot of volunteering programs, so that was pretty cool.
How fulfilling is it to have those sorts of things going when I guess you've got study, which we all know can be a little bit stressful? How rewarding is that sort of opportunity to give back? You know,
it's mean.
Yeah, cool.
I'd say it's mean.
Yeah.
You get to have a break, you get to chill out. For the Aspire program, I got to be a buddy for a person at intermediate, and we got to basically guide them and give them a structure and a different pathway. So we just did a lot of activities at the university and they really enjoyed it, so it was me.
Cool, and that's like a really easy opportunity to inspire the next lot of students that could come here. Rob, I know that you're a bit of an athlete. You know, we've spoken off air about how good you are at basketball. I know you play for the varsity team. How do you juggle, you know, the study, the sport? What's the balance there?
Well, first off, that's generous, calling me an athlete, I think. But yeah, I think it's actually a good thing in a way for the balance, because it gives me something to look forward to every Saturday, and then I can sort of structure my week around that. So I know I have to be fresh and ready to go on Saturday to play, so I can make sure I'm like exercising in the right frame and being fresh for the Saturday. Another thing is that varsity club is obviously pretty much all students, so it's really designed around the student lifestyle and they cater to our schedules and stuff, so it works pretty hand in hand.
Yeah, because I imagine there will be quite a few people who probably play sport and are looking to come down, quite a few creatives as well, and a lot of different ways that people want to come down to Otago and study and find that balance. Do you have any sort of tips, or particularly in the athlete side of things, about, you know, preparation or what they need to think about before they come down?
I guess if you're in your standard degree, like I do a BCom, so the workload's pretty moderate, and you can fit in your trainings and your stuff in the evenings around your study pretty easily, so it's not really an issue in terms of workload. Like, I don't think you'll have to consider a certain degree and then have to sacrifice your sport because of that. But I think one thing people overlook is the social aspect of it, because I've made like a whole bunch of friends through the club and through my team, and especially the varsity clubs, they're pretty good at doing social events and stuff for you to meet people and have fun.
Yeah, and when you are coming from other parts of the country, and you are often leaving quite a lot behind to come down here. So I guess, Ashley, I might just come to you lastly here. How have you found the social aspect that Rob has kind of just been talking about?
It's really good for you to get involved in like clubs and teams and stuff, because you don't quite realise how many people are in the same situation as you until you try and find what you're interested in. Like, your passions will probably change throughout your high school and university, and you like sports, or you like art, or you like dance, or whatever it is that you like to do. It's really handy to go find people that are like that, so then you feel like you've got a community around you, and then you have the support from other people that think the same way you do.
Easiest way, isn't it, to thrive at university and to do the best that you can here as well. Well, thanks very much, you guys, for coming in. Really, really appreciate it. Good luck with the rest of your studies and with the balling and stuff like that as well, Rob, mate. Good luck.
Yeah, W this Saturday. Come
Here he goes. Here he goes. Right, well, let's move on quickly, I think. We'll take a quick break, then we're going to have some really cool stories coming from our Pacific tauira. Don't go away.
What I love the most about being in Otago is just the sense of community.
It's more to do with the people, I think. Everyone's very open-minded.
There's a sense that everybody's sort of in this together. We're willing to help out our mates and kind of all make sure that we get through it together.
I want to go to a place that was definitely student-orientated, a place that you could grow up, get a world-class degree.
You might be nervous initially, but you will find a place here.
That's the great thing about this university. You will find your people.
First year it's quite busy and it's just different to high school, so you learn to become more organised and more independent.
So it's like a study and social life balance, and also sleep as well.
The environment really sort of aids and helps you in your learning.
The people here are so welcoming, like you can just go up to them, ask them questions, and they're always available to help you.
The amount of stuff I learned on the first day was when I realised
this is really something big, this is something special, and this is the build-up to my future.
One of the really awesome things that we see at the University of Otago is obviously a massive number of Maori students, but we also have a really, really big number of Pacific students here as well. I think it's in around 1,200 students here now at the University of Otago, which is something that we're obviously very, very proud of. But why do they choose Otago? I've got a couple of tauira here with me today. I've got Ruthie and Luke. Thanks very much for joining us today, guys.
Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Ruthie, you're obviously, doing Pacific Island studies, and, you're sort of using the Pacific Island Centre a lot. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about how you're finding your third year here?
Cool. So when I moved to Dunedin, I wanted to do health science first year, and after the first SEM, I failed SEM 1. So I transitioned into doing a Pacific Studies major, and the Pacific Island Centre was really helpful in terms of transitioning from a health science first year to a BA majoring in Pacific Studies. And so the staff there, they're like our second home, second parents. There's power in seeing a lot of lecturers who look like you. They're successful academics, seeing them teach you the content that relates to you, having been born and raised in the Solomon Islands. That's really helpful.
That's really cool, and I think it's often one of those things, I think, where we might sort of think of it as a missed opportunity in one area, but when one door closes, another one opens, doesn't it? And particularly, we'll talk through what has meant for you to, I guess, uncover a lot more richness in what you're studying and how that's helped you.
Yeah, cool. So having been born and raised in the Solomons, most of our content isn't in depth about our own culture and traditions, and so doing a Pacific Island Studies major actually taught me a lot about like the traditions that are slowly dying, but hopefully that could be kept alive in the next following years. And so the content there is really just really relevant to myself as a migrant to New Zealand.
No, that's so cool, man. That's such a cool story, man. And Luke, I know that you're sort of doing anthropology and Pacific Island Studies. Talk me through, I guess, the passion that you've got for that and what you're hoping to achieve from that.
Oh, well, so anthropology is just basically the study of culture. So, and Pacific Studies is the study of Pacific Island culture. So you kind of get a broader sense and a broader appreciation for like all different like traditions and culture in general. So like for me coming from South Auckland, like I just noticed there was a lot of things that needed to be done. So like for instance, there's a lot of like youth out there that just needed like a little bit of a hand. So I came in here just wanting to like kind of understand why is it that we're kind of the way that we are, and yeah.
That's cool, man. And I guess the important element of the Pacific Island studies there is you're probably able to add a bit of culture to how it's going to be sort of addressed in the future, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I'm obviously going to try go back home and like volunteer for like community work and stuff, because there's just a lot of work needed to be done. But in terms of like my own progression, I would want to like go for further in study, because I know there's not a lot of Pacific academics. So getting like masters and stuff, I think it's not so much about me. It's more so about like saying to everyone that we can do it in a way. Yeah.
So there's like that Maori phrase, isn't there, where you pave the way for people to come through behind that. When it comes to you very rightly say there aren't many, I think, sort of Pacific postgrad students across the country, but how do you sort of shoulder that, like almost like a responsibility, in a way?
Like I just know that if you have the capabilities, that you should be doing it for your community, and like I know that I've been really blessed with so many opportunities to come down here, especially with like scholarships and stuff. So it's more so of like I kind of need to do it just for everyone to like,
Yeah, no, that's so cool, man. And Ruthie, if I can bring it back to you here, I guess there's a bit of a feeling sometimes, I guess, when it comes to visibility and trying to inspire, other people to come through and to come through the paths that you've paved the way. How important is that for you in this sort of space, and I guess looking towards the end of your degree?
Yeah, it's important for the younger generation to know, because the Pacific people back home, it's rare to find people that go on to further studies. And so, it's really important to be able to, succeed and graduate with a degree in order to inspire like my little nieces, my little cousins back home, but also people in my old high school, or just people who resonate with my story and my narrative. And so like the importance of taking part in student associations, I feel like that's one way that we're visible in Otago University, being present and having a say in stuff around campus.
And having that safety in numbers and that support around you, No, that's so awesome. Well, yeah, thank you guys so much for coming, and I've really enjoyed this conversation, and best of luck for the studies and what you're hoping to achieve moving forward. Really looking forward to following your progress. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Well, after the break, we're going to be talking with quite a few people actually from Health Sciences first year, because of course it is one of our most popular courses. All of the do's, all of the don'ts, a few tips right after this.
This is our place. A place where people form close connections on journeys of discovery and belonging. From rugged mountain ranges to rich harbour waters, this place brings people together, going further by collaborating, turning daydreams into dream careers. This is our place, and this is who we are. Science at Otago.
Culturally safe pharmacy practice is essential to going beyond the script. Otago's unique learning environment prepares our graduates to connect with diverse communities. Study pharmacy at Hiro Kawakawa, the most innovative pharmacy school in Aotearoa.
Well, it's the course that a lot of people look up to when they go to the University of Otago. For many of them, it's the chance for them to start their journey towards becoming a health professional. Of course, we're talking about health science first year. Very lucky this afternoon to be joined by Jo Kerman and her mahi in that space. Welcome, Jo.
Kia ora.
We also have two incredible students today with us who are going to talk a little bit about themselves, in Tiara and Alicia. And kia ora, both of you.
Kia ora.
Tiara, why don't we start, I guess, a little bit with you, if you may. Why don't you give us a few tips on how students prepare mentally for coming down and going through that health sci program?
I think the most important thing is realising that it's going to be hard, but also realising that it's doable. It's hard, but everything's hard, right? Coming to university is hard, everything's hard. But then knowing that it's doable at the same time, knowing that if you stay on top of your stuff, it's pretty doable, and it's not as, and the only person that you're competing with is yourself. I think that's the most important thing to take away from the course.
That's a very good point, actually, and one that's definitely, I guess, something, Jo, that is probably quite common for students to forget when it comes to I guess the competitive nature of health science first year, that really it's in your hands a lot of the time.
Absolutely, it's playing your own game and bringing your best game right at the start. I think that's key, and not focusing on what other people are doing. Focus on yourself.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Alicia, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story?
Health science for me, I remember coming to Otago, I was very excited. I remember one of my favourite parts about the course actually was just being able to experience science in a new way, you know, through a health professional lens. I thought was really valuable and new and exciting, and so it was a bit of a journey. It was difficult, I found, adjusting at the beginning, but then I really engaged with those support systems that were already here at the university and made some friends, and then ended up enjoying myself a lot.
Awesome. Joe, why don't you, just on the back of that, talk us through a few of the support systems that are in place for students in that space?
That's fantastic. We've got lots of tutorials available for students, and also our teaching staff are incredibly friendly. So I think when you first go to university, you might think, oh, I can't talk to this lecturer or that lecturer, but we're all human beings, and we love it when students come up and ask us questions. So we encourage people to actually approach the teaching staff and talk to them. But we've got all sorts of supports available, from learning how to write good essays through to things like student health, where we've got support for students if they encounter any health problems during the year.
Wow, that's so quite a wide variety, isn't it?
A huge range, yeah.
Tiara, why don't you talk us through, I guess, if you've got any examples of times when you've had to use these systems. I guess a lot of students here probably are a little bit nervous about having to, I guess, admit that they've had to need some of those support systems, or understand what they can use and what is available to them. Why don't you talk us through examples that you've had?
Absolutely. So a lot of first years go into their halls of residence, and the halls have an amazing program for first year health science tutorials, and they're basically weekly tutorials where a past student comes in and talks about the content from a student perspective. And personally, I found that super helpful, because sometimes it's really hard to grasp concepts from a lens that is not student friendly. So it's really cool when people can come in and just, you know, talk about chemistry in terms of everyday, you know, this is water, this is what we're talking about, this is what happens. And that was something that helped me a lot personally in my first year.
Yeah, and I guess this is probably a real example, isn't it, of just how important those tutorials can be for people who go into those residential colleges.
Absolutely, but we also have these tutorials available next year for students who aren't in residential colleges as well, so that's a really exciting new development.
Oh, fantastic, that's fantastic. Alicia, why don't you talk us through what your journey looks like now?
So now I'm in third year medicine, third year of university, and it is really rewarding now. I really love what I study. I found that medicine was quite similar to health science in terms of the way that all the different sciences were kind of interlinked, but we focus more also on patient-centered care and what that looks like, and how to do good clinical skills and interacting with other people, also things I really enjoy. So it's getting, it's still really academic, but also interpersonal as well, and I do love it, yeah.
Yeah, for any 17 and a half, 18-year-olds who are watching, who are thinking about that next step, what they should think about for next year. I guess we've spoken a little bit about the mental preparation, but I just thought I'd go down the line, starting with you, Alicia, about what can they do now to benefit them for next year?
I think before I came to university, I really thought about this a lot, and I was trying to prepare myself mentally as best as I could for uni. But I think it's important to also accept that you can only prepare yourself so much. There's a lot of unpredictable challenges that will come at you, and in a lot of ways, mental health could also become a bit of a struggle. But that's okay if you're prepared to. If you're expecting those things to happen, you're expecting to struggle a little bit, and you know where your support networks are, you've got good friends from the beginning, you know where to access support if you need it, whether it be academic or mental health. I know that Unipol was a good service that I used from the university, as well as the chaplaincy, student associations, and getting amongst it, really building those relationship connections is important. But yes, just expecting it to be maybe a bit challenging sometimes, and preparing for that, yeah.
Being and open to that, I guess, as well, Tiara.
Yeah. I think being aware of yourself is something that's super important coming into university, not just first year health sci, but in general as well. being aware of what works for you, what doesn't. When do you have the most energy in the day? You know, when are you the most productive? Time management skills, scheduling, planning, prioritization, right? Those sort of skills can be super helpful coming into university, because then that's a part that you don't have to sort out once you're here. And that's something you know about yourself, and you can work around that, and you can sort everything out about your course in first year health sci around what you know about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of really good tips there, Jo. I mean, good luck adding any more to that, but you might have some of your own from, an overall perspective.
I think the big difference between school and moving into health sci first year is you don't have someone telling you what to do and when to do it. And so working on that independence in your final year of school, as well as taking the subjects that are going to best support you in health science first year, I think would be a fabulous thing to do.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I do know that we are getting quite a few questions actually coming through here about university entrance and kind of things that will help them get into the university. Now, this is obviously quite a complicated question because, there are so many different potential avenues and outcomes. So please do make sure that you put these questions through on our live chat. We definitely have people ready to give you that support, but just through the live comments and the live chat. So thank you very much for asking some great questions. But yeah, thanks very much for joining me this afternoon, team, and again, best of luck with the studies for you guys moving forward, and thank you for the amazing work that you do as well, Jo.
Thank you, that's great.
Yeah, and obviously we've heard Alicia talk a little bit about Unipol and some of the other services that our USA provide. We'll hear a little bit more from their president after this break.
Kia ora koutou. Here at Otago, we have a lot waiting for you.
We have gigs and volunteering,
chances to express your sporting and cultural passions,
over 150 student-led clubs and societies,
and a student culture that is unmatched anywhere else in the country.
And at the centre of all of this, making your university experience the best it can be, is us, OUSA. We run parties, own a student magazine, our very own radio station, our very own bar, and so many aspects of Otago life.
We're the ones who look out for you during some of the best years of your life.
From that stressful exam, to your social calendar, to the issues that impact you.
On a local and a national scale.
And the best part, we're run by you.
And we can't wait to have you. Apply for Otago to have the student experience of a lifetime.
Well, kia ora and welcome back. Thanks for joining us. We do, obviously you've seen there a little bit about some of the services that OUSA can provide. We've got the OUSA President, Michaela, with me this afternoon. Kia ora, Michaela, thanks for joining in. Why don't you talk to us a little bit, we've seen there a little bit about some of the, some of the fun things, the O Week, Rio Week and things like that, but why don't you talk us through a little bit about some of the other services that OUSA provides?
Yeah, I guess we have that, fun time side, but we also have the side of OUSA that is there for when life throws you a curveball. I guess the best example of that being OUSA student support, which sort of works in conjunction with services the university provides, like student health. But it provides a broad range of support, flatting, or how to cook a meal, or support for our quest students. We have a diversity there. We also have a support dog. There's sort of anything and everything that you need, and that's a free available discrete service for students. But we also, on the other end, provide real social opportunities for students through clubs and socks. So we run, facilitate and financially support over 190 clubs, which I think provides that sort of cushion for supporting students as they're sort of traversing, what friend groups are they trying to look for, what are they interested in, outside of just class and university, but their hobbies, what builds them outside of that.
And we've heard a lot already today from some of the students about how important that non-study element is to their time here. When it comes to, just thinking about the importance of being bold and actually seeking these things out, how do you go about encouraging students maybe who are a little bit nervous or a bit unsure about, life in Dunedin to go out there and to find those things that appeal to them?
Yeah, I guess, for me, my first stop was clubs. Clubs Day is one of the biggest days of O Week that a lot of students attend, and it's the best way to sort of get a flatter of whatever is on offer. But beyond that, I think it's in your halls, it's in your lecture theatres, it's in your tutorials a lot, and really the best way is to branch out on that first day, whether it's in your hall or you're in a uni flat or you're in locals. It's just seeing those services that are available to you and looking before that on your first day, seeing you know, what is available, sort of mapping out where you'll go, what you'll see, and just trying everything out.
Yeah, why not? This is the time to do it, isn't it? Give everything a go. So we've heard a bit about OUSA, some of the services it provides, yourself and your role. Why don't you talk us through a bit about what you do and I guess how you advocate for students?
Yeah, I guess OUSA, the executive, is sort of there to advocate for students and lobby to the university, to local government, to central government to make changes that will positively impact students, whether that is, you know, from the study link that we've received to the way the conditions of our flats, to being on committees and, you know, helping shape the papers and the courses and moving the university forward with a student voice and a student lens, because the best outcomes are ones where students are at the table having input about what they're experiencing and what they're wanting to change, what they're liking, what they're not liking. So yeah, our executive are elected students, and we do that. We rotate every year, so we keep current, we keep up to date with what students want, and we think it's a really great relationship in a way that the university is really relevant to their students.
Yeah, and I guess it's about kind of ensuring that this massive group of students, which we have, I think around 19,000, can still, I guess, keep the university accountable and be run for them in that sort of pursuit of knowledge and stuff, isn't it? It's about kind of ensuring that there's some accountability there.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's beyond us. We have all of our other student associations, whether that's cultural, academic, sporting, through those 190 clubs and associations. We sort of have a, you know, finger in every single pie across the university, keeping up to date with what's happening and building up that student movement to, you know, make it more about us more involved.
When it comes to, I guess, a little bit about yourself and how you sort of came to this position, did you always think that this was something that you'd aspire to? I'm just thinking for students out there who may have been head prefects or just have a real passion for student politics, or how did you sort of get to where you are today?
Well, I wasn't a head prefect, I can say
there you
that. Yeah, there's a really long history of really different people who get involved. I think the core of it is if you're someone who's interested in advocacy and you're someone who is interested in making a positive difference and really enjoys your time. I enjoyed my clubs that I was involved in. I had some friends who were sort of in the advocacy space, and I really liked the heart of the political issues that students were dealing with, whether that's fees free or, you know, the student, study link that we're getting and how to make a difference there. And I sort of naturally progressed towards OUSA, which all Otago students are members of, so they can sort of pave their own way there. But no matter your degree, we've got Dent students, you know, we've had comp sci students, law students, you know, med students. It all goes across everything, so there's no real prerequisite for what you can do, just as long as you're interested in making a difference and have the time alongside your studies to commit. You can do it.
Yeah, I can imagine it's just such a big responsibility to be able to do something like that, but there must be rewarding enough to continue to do that as well.
Yeah, I think it's always coming back to the positivity, and you know, you do interact with students and you can discuss these things and sort of express the changes that have been made. It's just keeping it on the positive side and, you know, communicating through critical Radio 1, student media, that sort of thing is where I sort of see that difference and can take on the positivity and have a fun time while I'm doing it.
Yeah, why not? May as well. Well, that's awesome. Thanks so much for your time this afternoon, Michaela. Really appreciate it. After the break, we're going to hear from some of our international team and how this year looks, particularly after last year. Don't go away.
สวัสดีค่ะ
Hi.
How's it?
Hey, what's up?
นี่ฮะ
Maing buntag.
Namaskaram. Assalamualaikum. Minglawa.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Jumriapsua.
Satrikal.
Cuckoo. Hey, how's it going?
Kia ora.
Well, the conditions are ready. Can Paul Dehami run the race of her life here? She's off to a good start and narrowly ahead at the first mark. It's great to see the race being played in such good spirits as they head neck and neck down the straight. They're joined, yes, by another rival as they go down to the final straight, but disaster so close to the line for Dehami.
Are you right?
Well, we're very, very excited to have a few of our international people here. I'm sitting next to Lauren. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And we have a couple of awesome tauira with us as well. First of all, Rakesh, thanks very much for joining us. Mate, how have you found your Otago experience?
So far, so pleasant. Like, of course, like I came here in 2019. So when you first join Otago or any university, you feel very nervous because you don't know people here. But hats off to the international office and also the uni, because they provide you with so many different opportunities where you get and like where you try and get to mingle up with different people, and also the wide range of courses that it provides. So it has been really good because you get to learn, and especially the opportunities that it provides here, like the exposure that you get to expand your network, it's really appreciable. So it has been really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know that you're sort of in that sort of, you're making the most of that exposure as well. I think you're sort of a uni buddy, is it an international student ambassador, is that right?
Yes.
Talk me through what that's like and how you've sort of found that.
I've been in New Zealand for 6 years, and before I came to Dunedin, I was studying in Auckland. When I first got to Dunedin, it was last year, and I was living in a hall, and it was during COVID time, but I felt really supportive from international office, and it was really like welcoming as well. So I found the faculties in University of Otago is really interconnected. So we can meet people from other faculties as well, and it's very social.
Yeah, cool. Rakesh, obviously, you know, when you're choosing a university, it's obviously quite a difficult decision to make for Kiwis, and you know, let alone when you're coming from another country. How did you end up deciding on Otago?
Yeah, so for me, the first thing that I saw was the lab that I was really interested in, and also especially when you're doing PhD, like it's a very important factor that the lab that you, because that's how you will progress throughout after your PhD. And also in terms of the university, because Otago has such a world-renowned reputation, because after doing your PhD, you decide professionally where would you stand. So getting a PhD from Otago University would definitely have a very high impact on my CV. But also additionally, like the facilities, that the student-friendly environment and the amazing facilities that Otago provides. It's very important for a student, I think. So these are some of the important factors that I looked into, and that's why I chose Otago.
Yeah, that's really cool, Rakesh. Great. When it comes to moving down to Dunedin, and you know, you've got the study element and trying to have that support network around you, particularly down here in Dunedin, how have you found that, and how is it looking at the moment?
So before I came to Dunedin, I had no friends here, and when I first got here, I was living in hall, and I actually met a lot of friends and connections through hall. So it was really good that I'm lucky that I chose to stay in a hall last year as well, and yeah. Yeah,
no, that's really cool, and it's obviously an illustration that, you know, that social connection that those halls have doesn't really discriminate whether you're from here or you're from anywhere. Lauren, for yourself, I mean, obviously we're hearing some really awesome stuff from our students here, and the fact that they seem like they're thriving down here in Dunedin. What sort of services are provided from your team to help that happen?
Sure. Well, probably it starts before they even get here, to be honest. So, like any student, it's a massive investment choosing to, you know, to study, and particularly for our students who are coming from all over the world. It's a big investment time-wise. They're away from their family, so advising at the outset when you first meet them, or you've got questions that come in, it's providing a really clear pathway of what it is that they're looking to achieve, what programs are going to be the best fit and are going to give them the right outcomes. And then when they get to campus, the support is just phenomenal across our teams and across the wider university. So we've got an amazing international support team in our office, and they cover all aspects. So it could be anything from, you know, accommodation queries. They could have just cultural queries, even with the old Kiwi accent. They might not understand what we're saying. So there's nothing too big or too small, and they work really, really closely with the other services across campus, across the academic networks. There are some amazing international champions. As you know, our academic staff are pretty international themselves, so it's connecting all the support services together to help the students really, really thrive on campus.
Yeah, that's really cool. Rakesh, I'm going to come to you, mate. I've got a big question for you. I've asked a few people this afternoon, but in terms of advice that you'd give to prospective international people who might be watching on our YouTube channel or on our virtual open day platform, why don't you give us a little bit about some tips or some things that they should consider and why Dunedin should be there for them?
Okay. So first thing is, like, with respect to advice, I think it's very important that they ask, because I think many of the prospective students are quite shy or quite unsure about reaching out. So I think the most important factor is like reaching out to people and asking them. And also with respect to PhD, if there are any prospective PhD students, it's very important that they are very sure in which lab they want to work at, and like they have their resumes and everything ready. Again, they can ask help from the international office, and as Lauren mentioned, that they are so helpful with respect to that. And Dunedin, of course, like I really love Dunedin compared to the other cities in New Zealand for some reason. Mainly because like it's so student friendly. Like I didn't get to go home, of course, from 2019 because of COVID, but then I didn't feel like I'm away from home, because like all the students and the events that they organize here in Dunedin, it's like really good. Like you feel at home, so you won't feel like alone or anything, because it's such a student friendly town, and there are so many things to do with students, like of course of your same age group and different age groups, and also like the multicultural thing, because it's like a uni town. You get to mingle with different multicultural clubs and societies.
Oh yeah, sorry, and Gray, just one quick fire tip that you could provide to people who are thinking of coming to Dunedin.
I think Dunedin is a really nice city in terms of it's in South Island, and it's so close to like all the other cities that you can explore. So of my friends, they have a car, so sometimes on weekend they just drive down to Queenstown to stay overnight. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like you can have road trips if you stay in Dunedin. It's like so convenient, and yeah, some
Real road trip gateway, isn't it, for across the South Island?
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much, guys. That's all we've got time for, unfortunately, this afternoon. But it's been awesome having you guys here. So thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, obviously, you know, if you're looking to be a student here, being a student really only is a small part of living here in Dunedin. After the break, we're going to have a few tips and a few tricks to help you adjust to living down here in Dunedin. Stay tuned. Well, look, I mean, it's fair to say living in Dunedin definitely has its highs, but it can obviously get a bit hectic at times when you've got things like study and things to get in the way. Thankfully, today we've got 4 incredible students who are going to talk to us about the living in Dunedin side of being a University of Otago student. So I've got Caitlin with me here first of all. Caitlin, why don't you talk to me a little bit about why you chose Otago?
So I'm from Wellington. I actually chose Otago before I chose my course of study. I just really like the student environment. It's actually, everything here is super close. So I'm 4th year and I haven't had a car like for the whole 4 years. And it just means you have way more time to do extracurriculars, you can pick up sports, you can, you know, have fun with your friends. So yeah, that's why I chose Dunedin.
Yeah, it's awesome. Tiara, we obviously spoke with you a little bit earlier on, but why don't you talk to us a bit about what a standard day looks like for you?
Well, it's classes in the morning, dances in the evening. There's heaps of cultural events happening all the time. The Union Student Association's putting up a cultural night next month. So rehearsals for that underway, and so it's pretty exciting, pretty fun, and it's not study all the time, which is really exciting.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us if you've got something coming up relatively quickly. That's cool. Obviously, Thomas, we know a little bit about how flexible the University of Otago is with its study options. Why don't you talk us through what your passion is and how you've gone on that journey towards it?
So I'm here to study to go into high school teaching, and I originally started doing a science degree, chemistry and physics with a bit of geography. once I finished first semester, I realised that I wanted to take the geography further, so now I'm doing geography and sociology and English things, still aiming for my teaching end goal, but I've just changed my subjects. So it's been really flexible in that all my papers that I did have still counted and everything, and it's, you know, fitted around, and I haven't wasted any time at all because they've all still been worth doing.
And how important was that? I guess it's hard to know, isn't it? I guess when you come here, what life will look like and what those journeys look like. But I guess the ability for that flexibility just makes Otago another really good option for people, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
yeah, awesome, bro. Tane, for you, mate. Obviously, we know that we want. Actually, you know what? Tane's got a really interesting story. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your time at Otago and what that has led to?
So obviously, if you told me that I'd be here 3 years ago, I probably wouldn't have believed it. I came down for hands-on Otago in 2019, and that was my first ever flight, my first ever time on a plane, and it really changed a lot for me. And so from that, I found a passion for the University of Otago and realised that it was a possibility. You know, coming from a small school within Taranaki, I didn't realise at the time that there was as many opportunities as what there is. And coming down and actually experiencing the uni was a good chance to do that. From there, I've come down to study exercise and sports science and economics, and I've just taken every opportunity that I can. I think it's a lot better to say yes and then realise that something's a little bit out of your depth than looking back and regretting you didn't make the decision. And so I've done a lot of things like School Ambassador this year, where I actually got to go back and talk to the students and actually encourage them to get involved, to have a look at opportunities and just put yourself out there, you know. There's no harm in other people saying no to you, but if you don't put yourself in that race, you're never going to know.
Totally, and I guess for you, Thomas, you know, the opportunity to speak to high school students, it's a really exciting one for you with your own goal. What was it about becoming a high school teacher that appealed to you? Was it an experience at high school? You had a really inspirational teacher. What kind of started that journey?
Yeah, so in year 12 and 13, I was really lost about what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And I had two really awesome teachers as my chemistry and my geography teacher. And I just thought that they had like the really ideal lifestyle going on. And I thought, you know what, that could do. I can do with that. And I've gone through with it, and so far it's still looking like it's on track, and I still think that's where I want to go.
Oh man, and it's always nice to have that feeling. I guess, you know, sometimes there are, you know, paths that are a little bit rocky, but the end goal still looks the same, doesn't it? Whereas it's all about just being open to what can come and sort of get in the way, Tiara, and I don't know if there have been any obstacles in your way, but talk us through, I guess, how you've just managed to sort of stay on the course and obviously do other things like, you know, your dancing and stuff like that as well.
So I actually started off doing first year health sci, like we talked earlier, and thought that I wanted to do medicine, in specific psychiatry. And I got an offer for medicine in December last year, and I took psych as my 8th paper. And I looked at that offer and I thought, is that me? Is that what I really want to do? Hand in hand, is that what I want my life to be? And I thought, no, I want to be in an office talking to people, helping them through stuff. I don't want to see people for 15 minutes and prescribe meds and tell them to just take them twice a day, you know. I want to actually be involved in their journey with them. I want to talk to them, see them every week, make sure that they're doing okay. Which is why I decided to take up psychology and neuroscience as my major. And that's what I'm on the path to do now.
What a story, what a great story. Caitlin, you said before that you're from Wellington, great city. I'm from Wellington as well, one of the great cities, I'd say. But obviously, Wellington obviously has quite a few different opportunities there to study tertiary education, but you had your heart set on Otago even before you knew what you were going to study. What was it about, even before knowing about the student life, that kind of drew you in ahead of other institutions?
Yeah, so like I said, it was really like the balanced lifestyle. I've had lots of older friends who have come here, and they've actually gone to like other institutions in Wellington, and I've just found that they don't have as much time to hang out with their friends, do extracurriculars, and so yeah, something for me is like doing other things in the community, like volunteering and things like that. So yeah, here you do have a lot of time to do that sort of thing.
Okay, sweet. Now I'm going to give you guys a bit of a quiz. I'm going to throw some rapid fire questions at you, and I'm just going to go down the line, okay? Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? We don't need to ask all of you. But what we'll do is we'll start off with, we're going to go favourite place in Dunedin to eat.
I like Burger Farm.
Burger plant.
Oh, that was mine, but Milai tree, great food.
Oh.
Mega hako.
Oh, good option.
Jitsu.
Jitsu, my favourite. You are the correct. No, correct answers here. No correct answers. Okay, favourite place in Dunedin outside of campus to go?
The beach.
Beach, easy.
Octagon at night.
Octagon at
Not
night.
on a Friday night.
Leave it there, Thomas.
Yeah, I'd also probably have to say St Clair, St Kilda's beach.
Yeah, great option
Yeah,
actually.
that's
Hard as the hard, and it's all
Yeah.
so good as well. Let me see, I've got another one here. What's your favourite recreational activity? We'll start at this end.
Volunteering.
No, yeah, I like to go to the beach and swim and run around and
Yeah, keeping
see all the
physically
dogs.
fit.
See all the dogs at the beach is probably my highlight.
It's cool like that.
Yeah.
Unipole step fit, hands down.
There it is.
Yeah.
I like to ski.
Okay, wow, that's cool. And how good is it having all these amazing ski fields basically on your doorstep? Awesome. And I've got one more here for you guys, and this is a really, really controversial one. Favourite place to study?
Central.
Central.
I don't want to give this away, but if you go to the second floor of Central, there's like a staircase that leads to half a floor up, and then the top right corner of that floor, it has plug points and sunlight.
I can just imagine so many people riding these notes down, just going right, turn around under the bridge, jump across the lane. Thomas, yourself.
Central is so overrated. Robertson Library.
Oh, there it is.
Way.
Controversy. And yourself, Tony.
Yeah, science, get away from Central.
That's amazing. Yeah, so many good options though. Have you guys managed to do a bit of travel? I know you don't have a car, but have you guys managed to get around the region? How important has that been to just top up a little bit? It's always nice to get out of where you live, eh? So, what is your favourite place that you've gone to outside of Dunedin?
I've gone to Christchurch, but maybe closer in the region, looking at Aramoana and stuff like that. So
nice.
Getting away from campus, because there's nothing worse than getting into that mundane routine, especially when you've got assignments and everything else. It's always good to take an hour trip away, go see something else, and just enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Love that. From you, Thomas.
Yeah, the peninsula is gorgeous. There's so many nice beaches on the peninsula as well, and also the Catlins is like right there, and it's really nice in the Catlins as well.
If you haven't seen it, Google it. These places are awesome, by the way. Definitely Google them. For yourself, Tiara. Wanaka.
Weekend trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't beat
Beautiful.
it, eh?
Nah.
Can't beat it. And yourself, Caitlin.
Definitely Queenstown. Just really good snow. Like I just go there pretty much every weekend in the winter, so yeah, it's really nice to be close to Queenstown.
Yeah, I'm not surprised Queenstown came out of there. I'm surprised it was the last answer, but really appreciate that anyway. Hey, thanks so much guys for coming in this afternoon. It's been really awesome having you guys here, and hopefully some of our students will know that there are so many other things other than study that they can do here. So thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome, guys. Well, after we have a quick break here, we're going to talk about some really important things. So get the pen and paper ready. We've got some key dates coming up after this. Lovely team.
Hi, I'm Cal Kistner. I'm from the United States. Let's go check out my uni flat.
Right, so you've heard from our students today. You've made the choice to come down to the University of Otago and you're really keen. What do you need to know now? I've got a few key dates that you need to write down with some pen and paper. Now basically we've got a lot of different opportunities here that you can apply for scholarships with, and they've already opened, so entrance scholarships are already open. As you can see there, we've also got some accommodation applications that are about to open, so not too far away. A couple of really other key dates there across August and September, particularly around residential colleges and entrance scholarship applications. So if you've got enough time program will make sure that that slide stays on for a little bit longer, to make sure that if you're looking to apply for a scholarship or a residential college, these are the really important dates for you. So make sure that you have a bit of time to read through those. Also really important to talk about, I guess, offers that are made for entrance scholarships. They'll be done in early October, still a little bit of time away. Now, we also, of course, just want to quickly, before we wrap up here, remind you of this awesome competition that we have here at the University of Otago, and these are the icons that you are looking for across the virtual expo platform. They will be open for a few more hours as well, so you've got a bit of time to go and hover and register and look for all 5 and give yourself a good chance of winning that University of Otago prize pack. Well, anyway, that's it from me this afternoon. It's been a real pleasure having your company this afternoon. Hopefully, it's helped you make a bit of a decision about whether you're coming to the University of Otago or not. If you are coming to the University of Otago next year, fantastic. We really look forward to having your company next year. But until next year, thanks so much for tuning in. E no hora.